Shall I do roll call for us?
Madam Chair, thank you very much.
Chairman
Chairman
Tracy
Quick,
Here.
Vice Chair Mary Lowry,
Present.
Commissioner
Commissioner
Dylan
Dylan
Mojica
Mojica
is
is absent.
Commissioner Justin Acevedo
has
Present.
not-
Present.
Thank you.
Commissioner Cecil Hernandez is
absent.
Commissioner Art Warren and
And
Commissioner Debbie
Cox.
Cox.
Present.
We have a quorum, Madam Chair.
Okay, David, you want to do your thing? Oh, we're going to consideration, I guess that's probably good. So we're going to start your consideration of request design site approval by Easy Dock and Lot LLC for a new 42,000 square foot indoor storage facility on 1.58 acres of land located immediately north of Highway 60 travel lot. APN 207-01-015B, case number SP-23-02. Dana?
Thank you so much, Madam Chair, Commissioners, that you should convene this evening. This evening, we have one time, I believe, and we'll move quickly and you'll have questions that you may have. This is a site plan approval, meaning the zoning code requires site plan approval for any new commercial structure in the community. And this particular development is a primarily a RV type storage location, over behind the travel lodge. I'll show you, the location quickly. This parcel in the rear here, part of this larger, what was a 5-lot parcel split some time ago. I'm not sure of the details. Obviously, it's been graded to some level, and some improvements. This finger was amended as part of the parcel at some point to provide access to this interesting common access scenario that was designed here. Just to give you a heads up or step back, this area was parceled, not a subdivision necessarily, or planned in a way that would have that consistent overarching backbone roadway structure and utility infrastructure, which is not uncommon from some of the developments, particularly in this area that we've seen, or parceling that we've seen. So anyway, just one thing to point out really quickly. This finger here, you would think that would be the access point. I think it was intended to be at one point, but the grading suggests otherwise. This was actually graded about 10 feet higher than this area right here to provide access to the yard. So I'm just pointing that one little item out. We'll get into the details quickly and then move along. First, I'll just get you an orientation of that property. Here it is, all zone C2. This pink, this is our zoning map online. It's all C2 zoned surrounding this, including the travel lodge at the top of the hill that this parcel directly abuts. Just to give you a heads up, about a year and a half ago, the city did receive a planning commission approved a conditional use permit for a 90-unit low-income housing tax credit development right here, directly adjacent to that property. That applicant did not receive, was not awarded tax credit for that year. As a matter of fact, it went to Hill Street School in lieu of. So anyway, there is a CUP that's probably expired already or will expire for residential on this parcel. So today we have this condominium complex that was, office condominium complex that was approved as part of this 5-lot parceling. This parcel right here is also a part of that same office condominium project. And then we have the travel lodge parcel, and then the Sonic, and then one other vacant parcel directly behind the Sonic that shares common access through the applicant's property, this finger, as we call it. So that said, obviously this is how it exists today as well. You can see the surrounding use also listed in your staff report. Just to show you that entrance quickly, or what's going on here. The prior developer, whoever was approving this, started cutting in the retaining wall and this access that goes back to that parcel. That finger sliver that I mentioned is actually down here, a bit of a grade bust over here, closer to the elevation of the signage. So that'll likely serve as a sole access to that parcel behind the sign. The applicant has designed, decided accordingly. You do have the city's red line version, that's what's stipulated as part of this approval. Make sure we get some final items addressed. Here's the entry, here's that graded cut. There's actually there was a retaining wall that had begun construction. They will finish that wall and receive all necessary permits. And then the area you see in green, we're asking for drought tolerant native landscape coverage to help support that soil and provide a more attractive entry into this area. There's not a lot of landscaping around the track. In this scenario that our code does require unfinished surfaces be landscaped. There will be a gated entrance located right here. You can see my cursor where the number 10 is located. And that's that access point. And over here is their parcel, actually. There is a conditional approval for the applicant to finish and secure a easement from Travelodge to do this work on their property and take access. They've agreed from what I understand, and that's moving forward. The city won't issue permits until we, based on the condition stipulation, and we can't allow somebody to construct a private property without the permission. So we've stipulated to ensure that occurs. As we work, you have a gated entry. There's a keypad for entry and exit. They possibly offer a key fob option or something like that, or maybe there's other technology too that's available. But basically, the site has this one large loop roadway. Again, it's intended for RVs and boats, so we recognize there's a considerable area that's necessary for the maneuvering and backing in of boats into their stalls. This is a building, these are the large 14-foot wide by 50 deep, that would probably be a RV bay, as well as these bays right here. And then all along the back, it looks like it's generally a 10-foot by 35-foot big bay for boat and trailer. Side storage requirement. And then larger, here's a 12-foot width. So a variety of widths to serve that Roosevelt Lake community. I think they're target, but obviously it's very low, and they're not designated for any particular use or storage. That's my understanding. So with that said, this portion of the parcel is part of to the south here is a little outcropping that extension you see from the Travelodge property. It has utilities and field and things located in it. And then it slopes down to the subject parcel. So with that, and then we have a retention basin on the right-hand side at the north end of that common access location. They have already revised the plans for the city's comment to, instead of outletting the overflow directly into the center of where would be a developable area for the adjacent parcel, off to the north and at the base of the hillside, so we can try and preserve as best possible a developable area. For this site, we do anticipate, or my thought process in viewing this was, well, when this parcel comes in, given we have the easements established, drainages and so forth, they would have the flexibility to kind of work with this drainage as long as they agree to accept that retention responsibility from that adjacent parcel and shape that in a way that's most beneficial to the development of that site. So we've kind of taken a bigger look and we're trying to reverse engineer sites that were parceled without necessarily a permit or a cohesive design component. including runoff and access and things like that. So I think we have a really good product here. Then you see in the staff report also, this is basically what those types of units look like. I think these are slightly smaller. This is more of a mini storage concept that's being utilized, but that's the construction type. And then you also have just some basic heights of those buildings, 16 feet. They kind of vary depending on the size of the building and the span to meet the roof slopes that are necessary. We have one more image for you. There you go. Image of one of those larger bays. And this particular site is sloped, and it will have a very similar type of stepping floor, finished floor, as this particular visual shows. Obviously, our plan is considerably broader than what this is showing. This is probably 24 feet back to back. Again, because of the clientele they anticipate, we have much wider, 40, 50 foot wide cross drive aisles to accommodate all of the maneuvering necessary to get boats and RVs into their bays. So with that, staff has, the applicant is available, Mr. Dennis Odom with Easy Lock and Dock is available to respond to any question. And then you will see the 7, 8 conditions of approval staff that's inserted to ensure we can get exactly what you're seeing today. And the applicant has reviewed and agrees with these conditions of approval. So with that, staff is recommending approval. I'm happy to respond to any questions.
Dana, this is Tracy. I see where they're removing the existing chain link fence. What kind of fencing are we gonna have around it?
Wrought iron, at least wrought iron. Dennis is here, he did agree to that. Just to let you know, it does not require view obscurity because everything is enclosed inside the building. There's no outdoor storage. There were an outdoor storage component, we required, I would recommend the commission have that be obscured should an apartment develop next door or something like that. Obviously, they don't want to look at a bunch of boats or other things being stored. So anyway, long story short, or long response short, a line, and it can go up to 8 feet, I believe it's actually over 10. And we'll work that out with the applicant, give you approval of the conditions as listed.
I just want to clarify, so it did look like from the plan documents, it looked like this was all enclosed, but sometimes there might be some open spots that get sold where it's sitting out and open. So the plan is that all the storage would be enclosed inside of these little, I just forgot the word, I'm sorry. I've had too much cake today, so. There's not gonna be any outdoor, there's not gonna be any items stored outdoors in this large lot, right?
Correct. Our zoning code doesn't allow outdoor storage without a conditional use permit.
Thank you. And then,
Yeah, that's correct. Each one will be its own separate garage with its own locking, electronic locks that the clientele can have access to their phone. So yeah, each item will be stored individually.
thank you. And then there was just one more question I have. Dana, if you'll just stay on that screen right there. At the bottom center of the screen, we can see concrete retaining wall, and you kind of have a question mark off to the left that says, is that existing or proposed? And I wonder if that question could be answered tonight.
Existing.
Okay.
Dana, is there enough turnaround access there for fire trucks and things of that nature? I can't, the footage is very, very small, so do we have enough of a turning radius in there?
Yes, absolutely. So this is the 40-foot right here. Our turning radius is 25 inside, 45 inside, 55 outside of the garage. This is an expansive turning radius for PD or for fire apparatus. They are on here to respond, but this is face of unit to face of unit, 65 feet right here. This is considerably broad and well within the fire maneuverability requirements of our fire code. 36 over here and then looping back around to 44 or 28. Our typical drive aisle is 24 to 26 foot in width. So this is like two drive aisles next to each other, basically. With that.
How wide is the easement?
500 feet, and has approved that configuration.
How wide is the easement going up that they're trying to work with Travelodge on?
50 feet.
Thank you.
I have another question, and if this isn't appropriate for this commission, just feel free to let me know and I'll ask of a different group, but you know, we know that times are hard, we know that people are looking for all sorts of, shall we say, creative housing solutions. What, this builder, what is their plan to secure this property and make sure that it doesn't turn into something that it's not intended to be, you know, where people are living in these storage units?
Yeah, there's not gonna be any plumbing and all that in these buildings for one, but, yeah, they're gonna have to find a legal document. We don't want household, items or anything like that in there. We want just the boats and RVs, so they'll have to find a legal document.
In addition, zoning prohibits residences within commercial districts without an approved conditional use permit.
And
So the city, similar to like a Motel 6 scenario, it wouldn't be allowed, it would be illegal use.
how would the client track that? Like, do you kind of monitor the site on a regular basis, just look things over? Like, how would you know if something is not being adhered to?
Yeah, so each client that goes in and out, we track, through the gate. But we'll have 24 hours surveillance on the camera surveillance on the property. That the client can see as well as myself.
And I wouldn't know, Commissioner Lowry, you know, it's like with the Motel 6 scenario. Now, that's a more gray area because of the general use to sleep at night, right? In the hotel, transient lodging. So ultimately, it comes down to the city's evidence that we identify, working with the applicant and what's going on here. We've noticed some things, so that's usually the only way we can find out.
Okay, thank you. Those are all the questions that I have. Art, do you have anything?
Madam Chairman, yes, thank you. I'm sure this has been covered to Mary's comment. I don't want to presume too much here, but in terms of fire suppression, you have gasoline and battery and diesel powered vehicles in there. Are we covered for inside fire suppression or fire prevention?
I will, Commissioner Warren, I will just defer to Tom Martha, your fire marshal, is on the call here on Zoom. Just to let you know, or point out in advance, the fire hydrant right at this corner down here to the property, and there's also another fire hydrant right over here at the corner of Fry's parking area. So Mr. Martha has reviewed this project with respect to the fire codes, and he can speak to that if he's available to do that. I will also note, as he's coming off mute, the applicant is discussing water service, at least for irrigation, with Arizona Water right now. So they have kind of taken a deeper look and step back and decide if they need hose bibs or something like that on the site, which we can handle administratively. Well, with regards to your fire suppression questions, hopefully Tom is hearing us and is available to respond.
Yes, Commissioner, can you hear me? Everything okay?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I reviewed the plans and I also discussed it with Chief Robinson. With that fire hydrant, we actually went out and tested the one right in front. There is enough water coming from, that we'd be able to lay a line in there easily, especially with the room. We could have actually had probably 2 trucks come in. And there's actually enough room with it at least being 26 foot all the way around that we could also have a ladder truck come in there if needed. But this type of facility, since the storage does not require any fire suppression, but like Dana had mentioned, there are 2 fire hydrants actually right along the Fry's parking lot also that could be utilized if needed. It'd be a little more difficult to get a line there, but we could easily get a 4-inch hose from the truck, drive into pretty much any portion of that facility, and we would have plenty of water.
Thank you. That answers my question. I have one other question. It says in the 3rd paragraph on background, it talks about does not include sewer or water utilities currently. Does that mean that ultimately it will have those utility connections, or will it not?
At present, the applicant has proposed no sewer or water. Obviously, sewer would be much more difficult. Once they pour slabs, you don't need a sewer, or you wouldn't have the ability to install a sewer at that point. So I would assume there definitely won't be a sewer. There's no restrooms on the property, no management quarters or anything like that. Again, they are looking at the potential for water. We already acknowledged the city does not have a code that would require them to have water on site. Obviously, that could be a benefit to the clients to hose off as necessary or something like that, but, and occasional maintenance of the property. But, other than that, like I said, we would do something that staff would review administratively within, Arizona Water should they decide to install it in the future.
Yeah, I have put in there the application to get at least 4 water bids plus irrigation on the property, from themselves. They said it could take 45 days to get approved and up to 6 months to get installed.
Is that for landscaping mostly?
Mostly landscaping, but just to have some water on the site to, as Dana said, hose off, clean the facility, that kind of stuff.
And that speaks to my question. I just can't imagine people storing the value we're talking about here without some sort of water access to clean and manage their personal property in the facility.
Well, we're not gonna have it where they can have car washes and that kind of items. There's other facilities they can take it to dump their sewer and to wash their units up. This is gonna be primarily just to store their units.
Any more questions? Doesn't seem so. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve case SP-23-02, design and site plan approval for the 42,000 square foot indoor storage facility.
I'll second the motion.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Approved. Very good. Do we have any future business to discuss? The holidays? Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least, I think, I'll do my off. Madam Chair, Commissioners, yeah, we are gonna be bringing the U-Haul new construction forward at some point. It's requesting a variance, so you should watch that. After a variance should be approved, then we'll allow that site plan to come forward to you. And I would expect that probably by early February. Other than that, nothing pending for you at this time.
Very good. Thank you, Dana. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Right?
Opposed, nay? I just gotta be in. Sure. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you, everybody.